Now, there is increasing chatter in Westminster that a general election could be the only way to break the Brexit deadlock. So, with that in mind, I travelled to a key swing seat of Ipswich to try and gauge the mood of people there. This is England's oldest continually inhabited town, boasting a rich maritime history and an ancient port that has historically had close links with northwestern Europe. It also has a knack of choosing the winning party at general elections. In 2017, Labour won this bellwether marginal from the Conservatives by just 831 votes. So how are people feeling now?
I've voted to remain in Europe. I still feel that way. I feel that the referendum we had was lacking in information, which we now have. And therefore, I feel we need a second referendum. But I'm a bit dismayed by what's happening in Westminster at the moment.
What's your sense on who's going to win next time, if there is an election, because there could be?
Well, again, we feel the same with Jeremy Corbyn. We sort of went with his views, and he keeps changing his views, so you sort of think, well, perhaps he's got speaking sense, and then he'll change, and you think, well, I don't know so much, really.
I think it's very confusing. Yeah, it is very confusing.
So you're not really sure what his Brexit position is then?
No, and to tell you the truth, if there was another election, I'm not really sure who I would vote for.
What a mess. What a mess.
I think all the other countries must be laughing at us, I should think.
Yes.
I think that's been going on since 2016, and they're saying it's going to carry on longer, you know.
Who blame for it?
Well, it's definitely the government, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think she should resign.
Do you think that?
Definitely.
Have you voted Conservative before? Are you Conservative voters? Or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
you'd like to see a new leader of the party?
I definitely would, yeah.
Anyone in particular?
I'd like to see Nigel Farage.
I think he would get us out of this mess.
The frustration with Theresa May is reflected at the Ipswich Conservative Club. Across the country, local associations are flexing their muscles, demanding their MPs and the Prime Minister listen to them on Brexit.
We do risk losing the trust of the people, and that comes down to local level as well. And I think if you lose your trust in your elected representatives, whether they're councillors, county councillors, MPs, that's when things start to go wrong, and you can almost get very populist candidates standing on very single issue.
So why is it there's loss of trust happening? Because there's been a delay, or because people think Brexit might not happen, or because people just don't like the way it's been dealt with?
Well, on the doorstep, and this is from Leavers and Remainers, it seems to be that politicians aren't actually listening to what the public are saying and what the public are wanting, or respecting the referendum result.
Mrs May's made a very poor job of the whole thing and the negotiating. I was down at Downing Street and I asked how many of the people negotiating were Remainers, the deal, and everyone was a Remainer. Well, how can that possibly be right? It's not right.
There's certainly a lot of pressure coming from the associations. I don't necessarily think that's just from the Conservatives either. I think, and this is part of the issue, and the central parties need to realise this. All the major central parties are that it's the associations and the members that actually vote for the leaders of these parties. We had the changes a few years ago, which meant that it's members that directly vote for the leaders, and actually we're also the activists. We're also the people that do the work and go knocking on the doors. And if they're not listening to us, really that means they're not listening to the people either.
The Conservative candidate is also worried the chaos in Westminster might turn off voters.
There's a real desire from the people who I talk to for Brexit to be delivered and for us to get on with it.
So are you frustrated then by the delay that's happened?
Well, clearly, I voted to leave the European Union, so I want us to leave at the end of March. I hope that's still possible. 58% of people in Ipswich voted to leave the European Union. So clearly, I think it's very important for this country and very important for democracy, especially in this country, for us to get on with it, leave the European Union, start focusing on other issues, and start being the great country that we know we are.
While the Labour leadership have expressed that their preferred option to break the deadlock here at Westminster is a general election, the local MP is concerned about the timing.
I don't want an election this year. No, I mean, whatever the leadership of my party is saying, it actually makes no sense to have an election until we know what situation we are in with Europe, because at the moment it's that's not the point. The main point at the moment is to get resolve the situation with Europe. And then once we've resolved the situation with Europe, I would like to see the earliest possible general election, because quite apart from the mess with Europe, I think the mess that the Tories are inflicting on the people of this country, with continuing austerity, with the 10% of the population getting richer and richer and everybody else getting poorer and poorer, that has to be the thing that people would want to vote on.
After spending the day in Ipswich, I can see why it's a bellwether. We've got the full spectrum of views here. And wherever we went, there was an exasperation and really a disbelief with what's happening in Westminster. If any party manages to put forward a cohesive vision for the country, then votes in this swing seat are there for the taking.